I'm going to be showing you how to rationalize the denominator with, three different problems here. Okay, this first one is real simple. It's 3 over 2 plus radical 5. So what we do to basically free the radical to be able to solve this is we're going to multiply by the inverse. So the inverse of 2 plus radical 5 is going to be 2 minus radical 5 over 2 minus radical 5. You do it to both sides. So this is going to end up being 3 times 2 minus radical 5. And this ends up being 2 plus radical 5 times 2 minus radical 5. Alright, you're going to use the distributive property when it comes to the top, to the numerator. So you're going to distribute the 3 to, both numbers there. And you're going to end up with 6 minus 3 radical 5. And on the bottom, you're basically going to use the FOIL method, which is going to give you 4 plus 2 radical 5 minus 2 radical 5 plus 5. These two terms cancel because there's a plus 1 and there's a minus 1. So you cancel those. You end up with 6 minus 3 radical 5 over 4 plus 5. Simplify it more. 6 minus 3 radical 5 over 9. Now this can be simplified. The 3 goes into the 3 one time. 3 goes into 6 2 times. 3 goes into 9 3 times. So this is 2 minus radical 5 over 3. You cannot simplify the 5 anymore unless you can't. It's prime. So that's your final answer for that one. I have another one for you. We have 3 over radical 7 plus 2. This one, you're going to do the same. You're going to multiply by the inverse to free the radical. So it's going to be radical 7 minus 2 over radical 7 minus 2. This is going to give you 3 times radical 7 minus 2 over radical 7 plus 2 times radical 7 minus 2. Again, you're going to be using the distributive. Oh, sorry, that's a 7. That's a 7 up there. You're going to be using the distributive property with the numerator. So you're going to end up with 3 radical 7 minus 6 over 7 plus 2 radical 7 minus 2 radical 7 minus 4. Again, these terms cancel, and you end up with 3 radical 7 minus 6 over 7 minus 4, which this simplifies more into 3 radical 7 minus 6, and 7 minus 4 is 3. This also simplifies more. 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 6 2 times. You can only simplify these terms when all 3 can be simplified by the same number. Otherwise, you can't do it. If only the 2 3s cancel, you can't do that. So then you end up with radical 7 minus 2, and that's your answer. And I have one more problem for you. Again, with rationalizing the denominators, we have 2 radical 3 in the numerator, and underneath we have 5 plus 2 radical 7. Again, we're going to multiply by the inverse. So we're going to multiply this by 5 minus 2 over radical 7 over 5 minus 2 radical 7. This is going to be 2 radical 3 times 5 minus 2 radical 7. And in the bottom, we have 5 plus 2 radical 7 times 5 minus 2 radical 7. Again, your whole purpose of doing this is to free the radical so you can do something with it, because otherwise you can't. So then we will be using the distributive property. So this is going to be 10 radical 3, and the 2 radical 3 times the 2 radical 7 is negative 4 radical 21. And then you end up with the bottom, you have 25 plus 10 radical 7 minus 10 radical 7 plus 28. These two terms cancel again. And then you end up with 10 radical 3 minus 4 radical 21 over 53. And that's your answer. Very easy, very simple. Rationalizing the denominator.